Well, now, here's Erne Hecksher. Hello, Ernie.
Hi, Edna. You know, you don't sound any different than you did when I walked into KFRC in around 30 or 31, and I had a banjo trio, and you were playing the piano, and Meredith Wilson was in charge of production there.
No, he was in charge of the orchestra.
No, he was the program director at that time.
Is that so?
Yeah, and he came in, they had a Blue Monday Jamboree. Do you remember that?
Do I?
And he came in and he listened to my banjo trio. I think it was about, 14 at the time. And it was a pretty fancy thing we were trying to play. And I made a couple of mistakes. And he said, you better do some practicing before you come on tonight. He says, give it a couple of more whirls and then we'll put you on tonight. So I got the trio in another room and we practiced for an hour. But you weren't playing any different now than you did then. They ought to call you the first lady of the piano in this town.
Well, thank you, dear heart. I know they do call me the first lady of radio.
That's great.
San Francisco's first lady of radio. Wherever I go and they introduce me, that's what they always say. But I guess I was one of the first pros.
I was thinking of Ella, the first lady of song, and I thought you should be the first lady of the piano.
Oh, thank you, Ernie. Coming from you, that's the biggest compliment I ever got. Do you know, I have an air check remember I had a show called Stars in the Making on NBC Radio many, many, many years ago.
Where did we do that? At the Mark?
1945.
At the Mark Hopkins?
You were at the Mark then before
That's
you went to the
I was
Great
at the
Fairmont.
Mark.
Where you stayed for almost 37 years. But I had this, and I thought it'd be interesting for you to hear it and see how you sounded in 1945. It's just a short little interview. Would you listen?
I was probably sounding scared.
No, you weren't. It's just great, I think.
Let's hear it.
Okay, Ted Samuels, let's hear it.
But now, Edna, who are you going to introduce to us today?
Oh, he's another one of my most favorite people because he's, a good musician, a fine piano player, and he's a San Franciscan, too. Folks, I mean Ernie Hecksher, now playing at the Mark Hopkins here in San Francisco. Greetings. Hello, Ernie. We're so glad you're here. Nice to have you here. Hello.
Hello, Edna. I'm very glad I'm here, too.
I imagine you are, for this is sort of home to you, isn't it, Ernie?
Yes, it is, even though I was born in England.
Oh, so. Well, when did you make yourself a San Franciscan?
Well, I left England when I was 3, Edna, but I was a Philadelphian before I was a San Franciscan.
Well, gee, all that, and you still appear to look about 19.
Well, how could I be 19, Edna, when I've been in the music business for 17 years?
Well, how did you get into this music business? Were you born to play the piano and just couldn't keep away from it?
Well, I guess that's about it, because I started out to be a lawyer.
Oh, you mean you studied law at the San Rafael Military Academy where you went to school?
No, you don't start training for law when you're that young, but I went in for a pre-legal course at Stanford.
Oh, good old Stanford. It seems to me they've turned out about everything from band leaders to presidents of the United States there.
Yes, I never thought of that, Edna, but I guess you're right.
Well, it was at Stanford that you started playing at all the school affairs and coming out parties and social events on the peninsula and things like that there that really started you, wasn't it?
Well, I do feel that my friends and school connections had a lot to do with my getting started in a major way in this music business, Edna.
Oh, well, speaking of majoring, did you major in the Army, too?
Not exactly. I was a PFC.
Well, fine. You're at the Mark Hopkins now, aren't you?
Yes, we're in Peacock Court every night except Monday.
And do you know how long you're going to be there, Ernie?
Well, I'd expect about several months, Edna.
Oh, and do you know where you're going from there?
Well, plans aren't quite definite yet, but we'd like to stay on the coast very much this time.
I don't blame you. And before you leave, Ernie Hecksher, how about a little nugget of advice to our little star in the making today?
Well, who am I to give advice? I have a long ways to go myself.
Well, no, I know, but how about preaching a little of us to what I know you must be practicing?
Well, I'd say that if you love music, are happy in the business, and are willing to take all the trials and heartbreaks that go with it, have talent and will keep at it, you'll eventually get the breaks, even though it may take a long time.
Well, those are fine ideals and fine ideas, Ernie Hecksher, and you were just swell to come up here today. Lots more good luck to you.
Thank you, Edna, and the very best to you, too. Keep up your good work, and we'll be playing your very lovely song, Bored to Tears in Peacock Court.
Oh, swell, fine. I'll be up there to hear it.
That's how you sounded in 1945.
We must have been pretty peppy then. We talked a lot faster than we do now.
Well, I think they recorded a little differently then, in those days.
Well, that's a kick hearing yourself, you know. I
Yeah,
sound like a Benny Hill
1945,
imitation.
that's 40 years old. That, what you just listened to was 40 years old.
That's right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is 1984.
How could it be 40? I'm 39.
Well, I am too.
See, they're bringing back all the Jack Benny things now?
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of 39.
Well, there's nothing can beat nostalgia.
Nostalgia is the big thing now.
I know. I have a pupil. I do a little coaching and arranging and such for singers around town here. And one of my kids is over in Sapporo, Japan. And she's singing at that elegant hotel there. And she's a smash hit, really. And their favorite song over there in Japan right now is Moon River, wider than a mile. Well, I won't play it all. I can.
That's a beautiful song. I love Mancini. I think he's one of the greats of today.
Yes, he is. He's one of the big top.
I've had the pleasure of having getting the orchestra together for him on his San Francisco dates. You know, when he does a big date at the auditorium or at the Fairmont for some big convention,
Yeah.
I'll get the 40-piece orchestra together.
Is that so?
And yes, and he has said that it was the finest group of musicians he's ever conducted.
Well, you really did. No kidding. Not because we're friends, but dear radio friends and friends.
Well, we got
Hecksher is
marvelous-
one of the tops in the music business.
We have marvelous musicians in this town, and if you know who to call, and if they have the right spirit when they play for you, which they always seem to do for me,
Because you're
you
good
can't-
yourself.
can't
you
do
see.
better.
They wouldn't do badly for you. But if they don't like you, they won't.
Oh,
they'll
that's
play the
true.
spots, but
I've
they
seen
won't give
enough-
it their all.
I've seen enough of that, too, in the business.
Yeah, I'll bet you have. Well, I think it would be nice to hear you play the piano.
Well, I'll be glad to if...
You want to?
I can play
sit down here at
something,
this Baldwin Grand that I'm
yeah,
at?
why not? I won't
And
make
play,
it sound as good as you, but I'll make a crack at it.
You'll sound better than I.
How about little Gershwin? Love
Oh.
is here to stay.
I'd love that.
I heard Tony...
Just beautiful. Thank God for George Gershwin and Cole Porter and all those great writers. Wouldn't it be a grim world without those?
I hope nobody ever forgets them.
Oh,
They've got
they
some
won't,
beautiful
as long
songs
as
out
I'm alive,
now, but-
anyhow.
You know, those old masters, they're just the best.
Well, that's right. If the young kids would listen to some of that, I think that would help them because
You know,
they
Ed,
have the talent.
I was thinking of something. You asked me when I came in how my fans could find out where we're going to be
yeah,
playing.
that's right.
You know, in the
Will
next
you tell
few
the
months.
world?
Well, we were taking it easy for a little while, but there are several places they could come and hear us, and some big affairs.
I know you're involved with a lot of musical
things.
We're
going to do an opening for Nordstrom. We did one the other day at Walnut Creek that was a great success, had 2,000 people.
Really?
And we put on quite a big show, and my son sang up a storm, and they just loved
I'm
it.
sorry Earl couldn't make it today.
Oh, he's going to make the next one.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
You should really, Earl is such a talent that you should have him
I
on
love his singing.
by himself. And get him to sing, and you work out something with him, because he's just great. You know, I use him. He's doing all the big parties around San Francisco.
What's his instrument?
Trumpet.
I thought
but
it was.
He's really a fine singer.
Yeah, I know it. I've heard
yeah,
of
the
it
critics
a dozen times.
where he used to play in Atlanta and Phoenix would always give him a better write-up than the stars, and it was very embarrassing on certain occasions.
Well, of course.
Yeah, you know.
It's kind of a personalized business,
but,
and if you don't understand
I was
it,
talking about Nordstrom's. We're doing another one in the Palo Alto Shopping Center. They're opening a new one down there on November the 8th. We're doing the Primate Center Ball at the Zoo on October the 2nd.
Yeah.
And we're doing this big French gala at the Fairmont on November the 3rd. And then for all the people that would like to really have a ball on New Year's Eve, we're going to announce very shortly that we're going to take the Grand Ballroom of the Fairmont and have do our Evolution of the Big Band show with a large band, have a great dancing evening, and have a reasonable dinner and drinks, and the whole thing is not going to be anywhere near as much as it is in the posh supper club. So we should get a lot of people, and we hope that
you will, Ernie.
all those who would like to go and have a ball with us New Year's Eve will wait for that announcement.
And at the Fairmont, where you spent nearly 37 years, that's where you really built up that connection all over the world.
When I look back at it, it was a lifetime, because I look at these pictures of myself on the albums. You know, I was just a kid practically when I first started there. 32, I guess. Yeah, 32 years old. But I followed Artie Shaw at the Palace when I was 22.
I didn't know
which
that.
Which is remarkable, you know, getting a break that early. But we fought for it like you have to fight for everything else.
Of course. Everything worthwhile. I don't think it should be handed to you on a platter. I think you earn your way. I think it was Edison said, the harder you work, the more luck you have.
That's right.
And you really get something out of it, then deserve it.
Yeah, well, you can't give up. I mean, you can't get discouraged and give up.
No.
If you pound on the door
no
long
brains
enough,
to bomb out.
It'll fall down.
That's right. I was just trying to think, what other places are you playing, or do you want to say at the moment?
Oh, we're going to do 3 Royal Viking cruises, among other things.
Next year?
Well, we're going to do a cruise. They're going to take the ship out, the Royal Viking Sea, on December the 17th and 18th. We're going out on that. And then we're doing the Caribbean Canal Cruise on February the 23rd, starting out at Fort Lauderdale. That'll be a beauty. That's 2 weeks. And then we're doing the Alaska
That'll do
Cruise.
you a lot of good, too. I mean, physically, you've worked so hard, so long, under pressure, too.
Well, you know, when you're on those cruises, you really work hard, but it's so pleasant because you have a built-in audience, you say, and they go crazy everything you do. So, I mean, that's what makes it.
Yeah. There's nothing like recognition.
Yeah, well, appreciation is better than a recognition,
I think
know?
You're right.
Yeah.
What's that album you have over there?
Oh, I brought this for you. This is, I thought you might not have it. It was the last one that we did.
I don't have it.
It's a collection of some of the best things we did. It's called San Francisco to Broadway. On one side, side one, we have about 20 of the old party favorites, things like Alexander's Band, Can't Get Started With You, There's a Small Hotel, Josephine, Fine and Dandy, things like that. On the other side are beautiful Van Alexander arrangements of the songs from the big musicals. Gypsy, Sound of Music, Bells Are Ringing, Can Can, South Pacific. There's even a song on here that Sally wrote, you know.
Your wife?
Oh, yeah. Well, Sally's a great composer, you know.
Well, I know she is. Very talented.
I used to, for luck, put a song of hers on every album that we did.
Oh,
but I had to smuggle it on. So
I have a complaint to make to you. You never played one of mine.
Well, now you
I put you on the spot.
yeah, you got me over the barrel there, but I tell you, we didn't have one of yours when we were recording, you know.
No. Next time.
Yeah, next
I'll
time
see that
if
you
we
have
do
it.
another one, we'll do one before you and I leave this veil of tears.
I'm going to be around for another 12 years, I
Sure.
think. 15, maybe. So, let's see. Can't we play a duet? Can you kind of fill in some holes and something? You know, do you remember a very, very old tune? I think it was a hit when I was about 8 years old.
How about If I Had You? That's a good old.
Yeah, but I want to finish this.
Yeah, how about in B flat? Can you do it in B flat?
Yeah, any key. I can play in any old key.
I know you can.
I'm not bragging. I just can't. I don't know the difference. The bridge. If I had you. Gee, that's great. Wasn't that written by Ted Shapiro?
That's Edna at the Baldwin and Ernie Hecksher at the Cable Upright.
I didn't
Courtesy
mean
of
to-
Benny Hill.
A guest should have the best. Well, they're both good. Well, anyhow, they're both good, and I think that wasn't too bad for just making it
Oh,
up.
that
You know,
was fun.
folks, this program is supposed to be just like we're sitting around my living room or your living room and talking about remember when. It's unrehearsed. We haven't got a
That
piece
shows
of
you that
music in the
anybody-
place, and we haven't any scripts.
Right, that shows you anybody can make mistakes, right?
Everybody does. That's why we're here on Earth, to learn not to make them.
This is fun, Edna.
But look, I
almost
was
feel
telling
like
you
doing
about
this with
something.
you for a steady diet.
Huh?
I almost feel like doing this for a steady diet with you.
Well, it is fun to do it. You know, music makes people happy. It really does.
It
It's a
should.
healing thing.
That's right.
It makes friends out of enemies, temporarily anyhow. They'll both be carried away with a beautiful song and they forget to hate. And
Well, you know, no
I'm
matter
just
how hard
dedicated
you're
to such things.
Yeah, no matter how hard you work in the music business and you're killing yourself at one of these big dances and playing continuously, as long as the people are having a great time, it's effortless.
Yes, and it's the music and the beat, the timing.
That's right.
It has to be melodic. It has to be pretty. It has to make sense. It has to be intelligent. I think it's the sound. I call music the sound of God on earth and principle in mathematics.
I can't imagine a world without it.
Me too. It'd be grim and I'd scare. Well, can't imagine my life without it. I've been a pro since I'm 2,
That's right.
and I'm 82.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Well, I like to brag about it. I'm just very healthy and very grateful.
Oh, yeah. Well, you
Music's
haven't
done
lost that, you haven't lost the facility in the hands, which is so
No.
remarkable.
No, I'm
and you
just
probably
as
never
healthy
had any
as I
trouble
can
with
be.
arthritis, did you?
No, don't
Isn't
have
that
any.
marvelous?
Yeah.
Because even George Van Epps, the greatest guitar player that ever was, he had to give up altogether and go to Arizona for a long time, and then he took a lot of therapy, and then he got his hands back. But can you imagine somebody
Well-
like that losing the facility?
Well, it would be terrible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just seems to me that music, my mind makes my fingers work, and so I haven't got time to worry about a
That's the
pain or
idea.
an ache or something. I'm no shining example. I make many mistakes. About
Well, if
other
you ever get
things.
any arthritis, go to see Dr. Wong.
Really?
Dr. Hans Wong, the greatest acupuncturist in the business. I'll vouch for
Well,
him.
I don't know if he can beat my doctor, Ben Shenson.
Oh, Ben is great. He went to Stanford with me.
I know that.
Yeah.
He said to say hello to you.
I say
I
hello
don't
to
need
him
a
right
doctor,
now
but
on
once
the
in a
air.
while I think I should have a checkup and see if I'm, at my age, if I'm still hitting on all six, And I told him you were going to be on. He said to be sure and say hello. He didn't know if you'd remember him.
Oh, sure I do. I
And
can
his
see him
brother,
like
Dr.
yesterday.
Jess, too.
And Bert Goldstein, the famous lawyer, Burton Goldstein, he was my first violinist down at Stanford.
Really?
And he's now, one of the top lawyers in the country.
Oh.
And we look back on those days and get a million laughs.
I just love memories. That's what I call the show, Edna Fischer and her memories in music. But I started to tell you something. This our beloved Ted Samuel around here, who's really the head of KALW, 91.7 FM on your radio dial. And this is Edna Fischer talking to you at the moment and telling you please listen now at 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights, and I'll play your requests. But anyhow, Ted, for his vacation with his lovely wife, went to Egypt. And way, way back when I was about 8 years old, which I started to tell you a minute ago, they had a great hit song called For There's Egypt in Your Dreamy Eyes. So this is for you, Ted. In your dreamy eyes. That was a big hit. That was for Ted. Well, we have about 3 minutes left. Let's do something together.
Like
now,
what?
else do you
I
want to
get a
plug?
kick out of you.
Oh, I'd love to. What
I get
key?
a kick out of you.
All right. Every man for himself.
Right.
All right. I'll
take
stay on the
a little vamp, huh?
All right. Ernie Hecksher, all the good luck in the world, and thanks a million for being here.
Thank you. I had a ball.
I hope you sell a lot of those wonderful albums.
Well,
I
I'm
hope
not too
people
worried
wrote down the
about that.
dates you're able to. You're still very much in the music scene.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have a schedule that's going to be even longer and tougher than the Fairmont, but I love it.
Really?
Sure.
Well, you'll never be happy if you're not associated with music, nor
That's
will
right.
I. So, folks, thank you for listening. And this is Edna Fischer saying goodnight to you from KALW 91.7 on your FM radio dial. And I'll see you next week at the same time. Let's make it someday soon, and please stay wonderful.